When I go online, I see a lot of talk about male insecurity and the fragility of masculinity. And rather than seeking cures to it, rather than actually trying to help men feel more secure, to make a man's sense of his own masculinity so strong that nothing can penetrate the fortress of his urethra and tunnel through the seminal vesicle to get into his balls and make him feel as though they've shrunk, even though they've actually just become more engorged, because that's what happens when you stimulate the prostate via jelqing. Rather than that, women online seem to actually be more interested in trying to leverage male fragility to create cheap engagement bait designed specifically to make men mad and get the validation of the girlies. Even knowing deep down, and by deep down, I mean like half an inch down, because it's not that deep. And you know what? Neither are vaginas for that matter. All right. Most of these roast beef sandwich lookalikes are less than 8 inches deep. Casey Kisses can't even fit her she penis into the average cis woman's vagina. The average cis woman is literally too shallow for Casey Kisses. So, because social media keeps propping up the accounts of women who suck and want to reinforce and perpetuate the patriarchy on account of having found ways to exploit the system, which had traditionally kept them down and even continues to keep them down in some way to this very day, and a lot of men are clamoring for a way to get to the top of the hierarchy that they know they are at or near the bottom of, there exists only one person capable of addressing the problem. Only one person who holds all of the answers. I am that person, and the solution to the problem is to fetishize trans women and their penises. Specifically, the ones whose dicks actually work. To lend more visibility to transgender sex workers who are not exclusively bottoms, and to completely ignore the ones who are. To perhaps even engage in erasure of them. And gaslight yourself and others into believing that trans feminine bottoms do not exist and cannot hurt you by being too thirsty for your dick, which you are already sick of gay men and cis women constantly begging for, just like they constantly beg for mine. I no doubt will be misunderstood. Individuals will attempt to cast me out of the many transgender Discord servers that either let me in by mistake or that I was openly invited to by being a niche internet chaser micro-celebrity who now lives in Los Angeles, where a lot of the porn stars live. But expulsion from those often shitty Discord servers is a sacrifice that I am willing to make in order to heal the divide between genders. The divide which women often seem to only want to widen by being incendiary little pieces of shit online who I have to constantly block on social media for having the worst takes imaginable. But for as many awful things that women have done, things like J.K. Rowling and the birth of Adolf Hitler, which we can entirely blame on his mom, since she was a Christian woman. And the Bible gives detailed instructions on various methods to induce miscarriages, which, yes, I am aware, were mostly aimed at men who suspected their wives of cheating on them, but which Adolf Hitler's mom could have used nonetheless. If only she had adequate love for abortions in her heart, I still support their rights. I still support their rights to get abortions, even in spite of the fact that 46% of them think that the price of eggs is more important than the ability to abort the babies of males who cannot afford to pay child support and or did not have sex with them consensually. And these beautiful, ethereal creatures, who travel amidst the Venusian skies on angels' wings, have taught me many things on my journeys, in which I gathered many a tale of androgyny to vigorously goon to. The first one is that art should comfort the disturbed, and disturb the comforted. Which is why I wasn't disturbed when I watched the circumcision scene in A Handmaid's Tale. Because I was already disturbed by my own circumcision, and I was comforted by the fact that I now have solidarity with that one woman who was circumcised. And the second is how to leverage the power of toxic femininity and passive aggression to behave like a total diva and make people really pissed off at me, which incidentally is what I did just now. But this power that I have, the power of the diva, the power of feminine-coded passive aggression, is one that comes with great responsibility. And I learned that responsibility from a Spider-Man named Tobey Maguire. And the power of objectification, sexualization, and subjectification must be used responsibly. Which is why you should not be watching trans porn that does not feature the woman casting a spell on her partner with her princess wand. And the reason why videos of trans women bottoming are strictly forbidden is because that wand has an ultimate spell. It has magic of untold potential, able to cure any man of insecurity about his masculinity. That power is unleashed by looking at a trans woman's erection and her endocrinology charts at the same time. Because if someone with 1/40th the testosterone of a young virile male can get an erection, then so too can an elderly man with like 200 milligrams per deciliter of testosterone or something, which will make the middle-aged man feel less insecure about aging and losing his erectile dysfunction. Because no matter what, he probably still going to be harder than she. Because having been with 11 trans feminine people and 1 intersex person, I can honestly say most of their dicks have a hard time going beyond semi-hard, even when they're fully aroused. It's a gummy worm-like texture, so there's not much competition most of the time, even if you're like 70. And if that happens to not be the case, then all a man must do is take the same prescription for either Viagra or Cialis that the same person with the 40 milligrams per deciliter takes. And if he does this, his erection will return. And one day, he may wake up to the fact that that feeling of being masculine or unmasculine is just a subjective sense of self, which he can trigger at will by getting erections when he looks at trans porn and takes Cialis. And masculinity that is unperturbed by women having penises, having big penises, having erect penises, having big erect penises, is a masculinity that is more secure. And if men feel more secure, cis women who are already less likely to be murdered than men, but don't seem to be able to check their privilege and still want to complain because 1/3 of their murders are caused by their partners, will be less likely to be murdered. Because their partners will be less likely to feel as though their masculinity is threatened by any one thing. And if men feel more secure about liking dicks, they will be more likely to be openly bisexual instead of down low, which will benefit gay men. And if they're queer, openly queer, they're likely to present in gender non-conforming ways. And if they present in gender non-conforming ways, then political lesbians, who are basically just straight and in some cases bisexual women attempting to gaslight themselves into being gay, will see them. And since they don't know what these gender non-conforming bisexual men identify as, they will approach them, not seeing them as men, and be gay for them. And because a lot of these political lesbians are probably presenting as gender non-conforming too, we will see people of opposite sexes and opposing genders being gay for each other. And this will heal the divide between genders. This will end the gender wars. And I will finally be able to unblock that dumb hoe on Instagram who said that Gen Z women are dating millennial men because apparently we missed the red pill manosphere content, even though we didn't. And the only reason she believes this is because Generation Z basically believes that the internet did not exist prior to TikTok, and is unfamiliar with the basic concept of people maturing and outgrowing stupid mindsets that they used to have as they age.